everyone! Today we are going to be editing our argumentative essays, and I have taken my example essay and put a lot of mistakes in it. So I have intentionally messed up this essay so that we can go through together and check for really common mistakes that you guys might have in your own essay. We're going to pause several times throughout this video after we check for particular things, and I want you to check on your own essay each time we pause, and make sure that you have it in the correct version, or if it is not, to fix it at that point. So let's get started. We have our running head and our header. There are many mistakes already in the running head and the header. So for the running head, I have the last name Granger that I'm using, and it's lowercase, so that's a problem. Go ahead and fix that. And then we have the name. So I only have the first name here, not the last name, and it is lowercase. So let's fix that with a capital H and then the last name including the capital letter G. Next, we have the teacher name. There's two mistakes here. The first is the MRS. That's just particular to me as a teacher because my name is MS, period. Make sure you do have this period, and a lot of students leave this smushed together instead of having a space. So make sure you have a space in between Miss and McConnell. After that, I have this ELA, which is a problem because it's all lowercase, and it is actually an initialism. It stands for English Language Arts. So I want the entire thing to be capitalized. ELA 8 and whatever class period you are in. Last thing for your heading is the date. So right now it says March 5th, 2021. That's the due date, but this is not MLA style. I need to make sure that the 5 comes first, there's no comma, and the March is spelled out and capitalized. Let's pause there and make sure that you have your running head and your header correct on your own paper. After that, we are going to look at our title. And on this title, we can probably tell that there is a problem with the capitalization. I should be capitalizing the first letter of each of these words. You do not need to capitalize articles like a, an, and the, unless it's the very first word. And you don't need to capitalize prepositions like of or on. Those are just not as important, so those don't need to be capitalized, but everything else should have a capital letter. Then we're going to start reading this essay, and we're going to check for common grammar mistakes. So my first sentence looks good. I have a capital letter, I have a period, I have a space in between these two sentences, and I only have one space. A lot of students like to add in extra spaces, which makes it really weird to read. So go ahead and check that you don't have weird double spaces, and if you do, just remove them so that you have one space in between sentences. Then I have my next mistake is right here. Viewed primarily as a children's activity or performance art. This is something students do a lot where they capitalize these nouns that really don't need to be capitalized. They are not proper nouns. They are all common nouns. You would only capitalize them in the middle of a sentence if they were proper nouns like names or places or schools, titles, things like that. After that, okay. The last mistake that we are going to see in this introduction is going to be the I will prove why. Now this is a really great tool to begin writing. It's a great way to focus what we are using, what we're actually writing about, but you don't need it in your final draft. Once you have your final draft of your essay, you should remove the word I and just explain, make a statement about what you're going to prove. So instead of, for these reasons, I will prove why everyone should consider integrating dance into their own lives, I'm simply going to say, for these reasons, everyone should consider integrating dance into their own lives. I don't need the I already know that that is my own opinion, the person writing the paper, because it's an argumentative essay. So pause there and check your intro for any of these issues. Next, we're going to move on to our body paragraphs. I'm going to do both of them in this section of the video and just kind of look at some of the common mistakes students make with their citations, especially their quotations and their citations. So the first problem that I can see, this topic sentence is fine introducing the first point I'm going to be making, but this quotation is not. The mistake here is that there's nothing at the beginning that introduces this quotation from the author of the article that I read. So right now it's just floating out in midair. We call that a floating quotation. So to make sure that it's not floating, I have to check all of the quotations all throughout my paper and make sure that I have something that introduces it. So I'm going to fix this one, and then I'm going to check all of my quotations for the same issue, and I suggest you do the same. So I can do this as simply as just putting in the text it states. That is my way of introducing the article and the author that I am referencing. That way we know that it's not my words, it's somebody else's words. So let's check my other quotations. So Greek philosopher Plato believed blank. Okay, cool. So I've introduced it. We're good there. Then dance is especially important because it allows us to share emotions. Cool. I've introduced it there. And according to the article, TikTok has helped. Cool. There. And one more. According to Kim, a lesser. Ooh, I spelled her last name wrong. But we're good there. Those have all been introduced. So I'm going to give you a minute to go through your essay and check each one of your quotations and make sure none of them are floating, and then we will start with the next section. After we've checked our floating quotations, I want to check our citations. So our quotations have quotes around them, and then we have this part at the end that's a citation. A citation should have parentheses, it should have the author's last name capitalized, and it should have the page or paragraph number that you found that quotation. There should be no comma in the middle, oops, and there should be a period at the end. If there is a period right here at the very end of your quotation marks, you want to remove it and place it at the end. So we're going to go through and check each one of my quotations in this essay to make sure our citations look correct. So this one looks good because there's no period here, author's last name, page, no comma, parentheses, and period at the end. Cool. My next one is here, and there is a mistake. So there's no period here, so that's good. The author's last name is spelled correctly, capitalized, parentheses, page, and period at the end. That's all good, but there's a comma. There should not be. So make sure you delete any commas that you have in those citations. Okay, look at the next one. This one does not have the author's last name in it, and that is actually okay because I am using her last name in the sentence itself. So the sentence uses the author's last name. If I do that, I don't want to repeat myself by putting it again in the citation. So I just decided to mix it up for that one. Still no period. Author's last name is either in the sentence or the citation. Page or paragraph number, no commas, and a period after the parentheses. Okay, then we have TikTok has helped. Oh, okay, several mistakes here. I see two. So first, there is a period on the inside of the quotation marks, which there should not be. That needs to get removed and put it outside the parentheses, and then the last name, of course, needs to be capitalized. And right here, we have Kim Elsesser. Ooh, this is actually a mistake. This should be capitalized. Because this is an independent statement, it's actually an independent clause that I am introducing. We'll capitalize the first part of the quotation. If it's something like this, where it says TikTok has helped kids, there's no comma right here. And that's because TikTok is the subject of this sentence, and then this is where we get the predicate. So because they kind of combine together to make our complete sentence, there is no capitalization here. This would be a complete sentence on its own without the part before the quotation marks, so we do capitalize it. But this citation looks good. Again, I have the author's last name in my sentence, so I don't need to put it in the citation. The period is in the correct spot. It's outside of the parentheses. So go ahead and check all of your quotations and all of your citations to see if you can make any changes. The last thing we're going to look at in the body of this essay before we get to the works cited is the I statement. So a lot of students like to write from the first person using the word I or myself or in my opinion. And that's a great way to start writing a paper, and it's a great tool to know what sentence you're going for. But once you have it on the paper, you need to remove those I statements. So I believe I have 2 of them integrated in here, so let's find them. In this second body paragraph, it's my second claim paragraph, I have a statement that says, I believe this connection can help people of all ages feel connected to their friends through dance apps such as TikTok. Now, the sentence is fine. It's just not as academic because I have this I believe statement in there. So all I need to do is delete it and make this the beginning of my sentence. This connection can help people of all ages feel connected to their friends through dance apps such as TikTok. Again, we know this is our own opinion because it's an argumentative paper. You are clearly arguing your opinion on the subject, so we don't need to introduce that I phrase. And I believe I have one more. My counterclaim paragraph looks good. We already addressed the issues in that paragraph with our quotations and citations. And the last thing will be my very end concluding sentence. I have one of those in my opinion clauses. We just don't need it. So I'm going to remove it. So it simply says, dance can help people through challenging times and bring people closer together. So now it's more direct, to the point, and we already assume that it is my own opinion. Go through your essay, make sure there are no I statements, in my opinion statements, or I believe. We're going to want to make sure we get rid of those and just reformat the sentence so the point you are making is the first part of that sentence. Now that we are done editing the essay itself, we want to make sure that we are editing our works cited. So first thing, we want to make sure that this works cited is in the center of our page, which is this button right here. The entire thing is double spaced, and it has what's called a hanging indentation. So that means that the first line is all the way to the left and all of the other lines are ½ inch in. That's actually the opposite of your paper where everything is up against the left and your first line is ½ inch in. So we're going to reverse that for our works cited. So if yours is messed up and it looks something like this, or like this, or like that, any of these weird versions of it, I'm going to show you how to fix it. So this is a normal indentation, and I'm just going to show you how to fix that. So highlight the entire works cited section, and you are going to go up to Format, Align and Indent, and then down to Indentation Options. And you should have 0 and 0 for your left and right. And then instead of first line as ½ inch, 0.5 inches, we're going to do hanging indentation, 0.5 inches. And that'll switch it so the first line is all the way over and the other lines are indented. After that, we want to make sure that each aspect of our works cited is correctly formatted. So this author's last name is backward. Her first name is coming first and then her last name, and that's incorrect. So I want to make sure that this, I'll actually put my comma here because it's last name, comma, first name. And then I'll delete the first name so that it does start with a last name. Also, my works cited should be alphabetical order by author's last name, so B comes before E. If you have 2 or more citations, make sure they are in alphabetical order. Next, I have a period at the end. That's good. Let's check this one. Last name, comma, first name, good. No period, so let's make sure there is a period on all of our authors' names. Last name, comma, first name, period. Next, we have the article titles, and they should be capitalized in quotation marks with a period right before the quotation marks. This one doesn't have a period because it has a question mark instead. That's part of the title itself, so we're going to leave that because it's special formatting. Next, we have the publication site where we accessed this information. For the first one, I accessed it from Actively Learn, so that's good. It's capitalized and it's italics. For the second one, that is a mistake because Forbes is not in italics, and it should be. Then we have a comma in both cases. We have the date that it was published in MLA style, which starts with the day, then the month, then the year, spelled out. Day, month, year, spelled out, and then commas at the end of both of these. Cool. Then we have our link. That's where we went up to the URL, the very top of your screen, and you copied the link that you found this article from. This one is not currently linked, but it needs to be. So I'm going to highlight this whole link, and I'm going to click this button right here that says Insert Link, and it'll make it a link so that I can actually click on it and go straight to the website that I found it. Same with right here. I can go right to the website where I found it. Now that they're linked, I want to make sure there is a period at the end of both of these links. And the very last part is the accessed date. So right here I have 1 March 2021. That's the correct MLA format, but I don't have the word accessed. So I want to say accessed the 1st of March 2021, and there should be a period at the end. Let's check the other one. Accessed 3/1/2021, problem. That is not in MLA format, so let's do the 3rd of March. Okay, 3rd of March 2021 with a period at the end. And we are completely done. That is our entire essay. It is in MLA format. It has been edited. It looks beautiful. If you are done with every single one of these steps and you are confident in your essay, go ahead and check on the right-hand side of your essay to make sure there are no comments from classmates or teachers with any valuable information that you can go ahead and take their advice or leave it alone if it's not actually helpful. But go ahead and remove all of those comments. Make sure the whole thing is formatted beautifully, and you are good to go. You get to submit this paper to Google Classroom. Nice job, and if you have any questions, please email me before the due date of this paper.